SevernTrent, water company. I had to call it last week, and it was a nightmare trying to get through to try and get details of how much I'm paying, when I'm paying it, when I last paid it, and all that sort of quite perfectly reasonable information. And now I discover it's not only the sewage spills, it's the fact that following the water industries, following SevernTrent's being at the centre of a BBC Panorama investigation, it's operating some sort of completely dodgy accounting system, and yet at the same time it lords it over its customers. And this seems to be a feature of British society at the moment, that we've got these dodgy companies like the NHS, like I tried to contact the police today. The police station was closed. I walked all the way over there, and nothing seems to be working. There was a little fence erected around one of the crossing points to one of the roads near where I live, and it fell over, or it's been knocked over in the bad weather, I think on Saturday or Sunday, and it's still lying abandoned on the road. And you just think, does nothing work here? And yet at the same time, you've got these statements that the council won't accept any abusive language. I dropped into the council as well. There's no reception because the council offices, the town council is being refurbished. There's nobody around. The systems don't work, and this at the same time, there's this patina of arrogant disdain for anybody who's trying to access the systems. And the water industry is no exception. And the BBC Panorama have been uncovering these questionable accounting practices. The crux of the matter lies in the artificial inflation of its balance sheet by £1.68 billion, a manoeuvre that allegedly misleads stakeholders about the company's financial health while facilitating significant shareholder dividends. So it's a trick to put money in the pockets of the people who are shareholders of this company. It's not about repairing the waterworks. In fact, we get letters regularly telling us that we should be taking out insurance in case a repair happens or is needed on our land, for which we would have to pay. It's all slightly threatening, it's slightly menacing, and at the same time, it's about not taking responsibility. At the heart of this controversy, in this case, is the creation of SevernTrent Trimpley, which is a shell company established in 2017. And despite having no tangible assets or operations, Trimpley was valued at £3 billion through an internal transaction involving an IOU issued by SevernTrent Draycott, another entity within the same corporate web. Draycott Water isn't far away. On paper, this inflated Trimpley's worth, which was subsequently reflected in SevernTrent Water's accounts as a £1.68 billion investment. And this figure, though entirely fictional, entirely theoretical, bolsters the water company's balance sheet and retained earnings, creating the illusion of financial robustness when in fact it's a wreck that can barely function. And since Trimpley's inclusion in the accounts, SevernTrent Water has paid out £1.615 billion in dividends. That's £369 million more than its profits over the same period. This is madness. And critics argue that the inflated retained earnings, facilitated by Trimpley's phantom valuation, have enabled these generous payouts, prioritising shareholders over basic infrastructure investment and environmental responsibilities, and actually getting the water to the customers. It's outrageous behaviour, and yet entirely legal. And we come back to this same question, which I've asked many, many times. Legal but moral? Is it moral? Is it ethical? Is it right? Because we can all find ourselves on the wrong side of the legal system. That's a problem that's been going on for centuries. The law is not perfect, but there is a concept of what is moral and what is ethical and what is right. And I think fundamentally this is wrong, isn't it? So while SevernTrent boasts a 4-star environmental rating from the Environment Agency, campaigners like Up Sewerage Creek highlight a stark contrast between the company's financial strategies and its performance on the ground or under the ground. And Shrewsbury-based activists accused SevernTrent of neglecting vital infrastructure upgrades, leading to pollution in local rivers and persistent sewage spills, all while enriching its shareholders. SevernTrent staunchly defends its practices, saying that the Trimpley structure is legal, transparent and independently audited. So what? So what? There are plenty of things which are legal and not right. But retired Auditor Stanley Root, what a great name, who examined the scheme, describes it as a near unreal transaction designed to mask the company's true financial position. And critics argue that while technically legal, such creative accounting undermines public trust in privatised utilities, particularly when essential services are at stake and are wanting. The revelations place Ofwat, the industry regulator, under pressure to address not only SevernTrent's practices, but the broader culture of financial engineering within water companies. With public confidence in the sector already eroded by widespread sewage spills and all the nonsense which Therese Kofi was overseeing, further scrutiny of corporate governance and financial integrity is inevitable. This is what comes of having ministers who don't know how to do their job. And it doesn't matter whether they're Conservative or Labour. The chaos in government oversight has been ongoing, not for 14 years. I'm not going to play these silly slogans. No, it's been going on since probably the 1990s. Since probably the end of John Major's government, certainly within Tony Blair's government, and definitely David Cameron's and the Clegg coalition, and Liz Truss. I mean, she did more damage in a short period of time, barely a month. Extraordinary how significant Liz Truss will be in history. So, SevernTrent's case underscores a troubling tension in the UK's privatised water industry, but I think it's going to open up this bag of worms, this Pandora's box, for all privatised industries. The prioritisation of shareholder returns over environmental stewardship and public accountability. And as the Panorama investigation makes waves, let's have some water imagery here, it raises a crucial question. Can a system that incentivises financial creativity over genuine investment truly serve the public good? For now, it's like a water sport, isn't it? Should we be encouraging water sports, or should we be encouraging good, sound, common practice? Customers and campaigners are left navigating these murky waters, both literal and metaphorical.